I think of flowers as art, so for me it's like an artist. An artist doesn't just paint the same picture over and over again. They evolve, their styles change, their color palette changes, you know, maybe even the containers they use change. And I think that I'm the same way with the flowers and the flower arranging. So my name is Anastasia Szold, and I'm a luxury floral concierge. My concierge service is called Anastasia's, so it's easy to remember. And I started doing flowers actually when I was 13 years old. I started working in a little flower store. Yeah, and I worked there through middle school and high school. And ever since then, just wanted to work with flowers. So I took a step back to work in finance for about 10 years, and then I decided once I became a stay-at-home mom to revive the floral business and just kind of do my own thing with it. I'm very inspired by flowers, and I think the most important thing about them is that they're in the present. They're doing their thing. They bring you as a person into the present. They force you to appreciate the moment. So I think that's the coolest thing about them. It's very important to personally know each one of my clients, just because then I can get a really good sense for their style and what they're looking for. And so when they request, whether it's an arrangement for a special event or just an arrangement for a loved one, I know exactly what they're looking for, and because I already know them, I know their style. I think my style is very romantic. I enjoy texture a lot. So I think for me, every time I think about a flower arrangement, I don't just think about composition and color, but I think about texture a lot. You see that today. I'm working specifically with flowers that offer you a lot of the texture, like this beautiful Queen Anne's lace. I think gives you a lot of that beautiful lacy feel, and then something completely different texturally, a little bit more of a spiky feel, the sea holly right here. So I love experimenting with texture, and even if it's just a one color arrangement, you can still kind of convey a lot of movement and a lot of texture. First of all, I think flowers can evoke so many emotions. I think that they're incredibly emotional. They can, you know, make you think of love, forgiveness, all kinds of things. And I think one of the biggest things that people probably associate flowers with is romance. You know, people of course use flowers for you know, as a gift to a loved one. They also do it, use it for weddings. So for me, that's kind of the number one thing whenever I think about doing a flower arrangement. It always makes me think of that kind of soft romantic feel that flowers have. One of the most exciting things for me is to see my flowers displayed in some of my favorite places in the neighborhood. Like, for example, May Day is probably my favorite holiday here. I mean, it's not really a holiday, but just my favorite day in Annapolis, just because it brings everybody out, neighbors, friends, people from out of town. And then just walking by and seeing a May Day basket that I made displayed in my favorite coffee shop, Curate, or one of my favorite restaurants, Leo's. It just makes me just feel extra like I'm part of a community. And I challenge anyone to walk around on May Day and not smile. It's just impossible not to smile, because everyone's in a good mood. It's usually beautiful weather, and there's just flowers are everywhere, and it's just a very beautiful community, cozy vibe in Annapolis. I absolutely love Maryland Hall. My kids have taken classes in Maryland Hall. We've been to concerts at Maryland Hall. We've seen our friends and artists display their art there, and it's just such an important part of the neighborhood we live in and Annapolis in general. To then be able to partner with Maryland Hall and do some flowers for their event, that just was extra special to me, because I already value that space so much. Being a part of it even more was very special. So sunflowers to me felt very summery, very bright. They had the same vibes as BloomHaven, which was, I think the idea of it is to be kind of a summer, vibrant concert. So I thought that they would be a really nice statement piece for your first one. Yeah, so right now I'm creating a little birthday arrangement for a client. So this is for her mother, actually, for her mother's birthday. So that's one of the best things about working with my clients. They can text me. So she texted me yesterday and she said, I need flowers for my mom. Sorry, super last minute. Can you make it happen for me? Here's my budget. My mom doesn't like lilies, otherwise, have at it. And yeah, I said, on it, done, don't worry about it. So here we're putting together a little arrangement for her. I don't have any lilies here, but I have some nice, fun, vibrant colors and flowers that I know that she's gonna like. Yeah, so the way I'm playing with color here is I'm actually gonna pair some non-traditional colors together. So when you're pairing colors, you wanna do the ones that are next to each other on the color wheel. So maybe like a red and an orange would go together really well. Another way is to do the opposites. So for example, blue and orange are opposites on the color wheel, so you could pair those together. But here we're gonna play with some ones that aren't very traditional. Like I'm gonna have some blues and pinks and a little bit of purple. So those are kind of interesting play. I think it's gonna look interesting. And I really liked this vessel, this vase. So I wanted to pick up the purple in here by using these little ranunculus here. So I think that there's definitely some trends in flowers right now. The trend is kind of this more loose composition, not tight. So even if you think about wedding bouquets, I think if you think back maybe like 20 years, the bouquets were kind of tight, almost like a little ball. But now things are a little bit more, I would say, flowy and romantic. So a little bit less kind of all smushed together and a little bit more, there's breathing room. There's a little bit of more movement in them, like in the arrangement that I'm doing right now. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think of flowers as art, and they can be an extension of your home. Just as you would have, for example, a designer come and help you style your home in the way that you find comfortable and beautiful. You can do the same with flowers. How has doing flowers changed me? I think when I work with flowers, I'm kind of in the zone. I'm in my flow. So I can tune out the rest of the world, and if the kids are running around doing something crazy or screaming, I can kind of forget about that for a minute and just be fully present in what I'm doing at the moment, which is arranging flowers. In terms of how it changed me, I think it just makes me notice things more, like colors, interesting textures. It makes me not afraid of color anymore. I mean, I feel like a lot of the time there's a certain style that people kind of gravitate towards right now, is a lot of whites, a lot of beiges. But I like color. I like having bright furniture and bright patterns and playing with textures like I mentioned earlier. So I think it also kind of makes me appreciate the color a little bit more. The biggest thing that I usually work on is events with my clients. So a lot of the time it can be as small as a dinner party, or it can be as big as, you know, a wedding. A lot of the time I have to do flower arrangements for their dining room table, flower arrangements for the powder room, flower arrangements for the bar, things like that. And once we do kind of the initial walk through the space, I then know they're home. So it just becomes very easy for them to text me and say, hey, I'm hosting another gathering. I'd like an arrangement for the bar. Here's a picture of my tablecloth. You know, can you make it work with this? Or like, here's the theme. And so the concierge level is that it's very personal. You know me. It's very little lift on your part. I do all the thinking and all the work. You just ask me to get it done. Well, so when I first started working in a flower store as a 13-year-old, so this is what we call in the floral industry greening. So basically, a lot of the time you start an arrangement by just having the green base. So I don't know if you saw, that's what I was doing. I was adding just the greens, and then I started kind of layering the flowers in. So when I first started working in a flower store, the only thing I did was greening. So just adding greens to like vases. And then the actual owner of the store, the florist, would then go in and actually put the arrangement together with all the flowers and stuff. And then, so for me, the biggest milestone was when she said, go ahead, you can make your own. Like, this is what the client wants. You can make the arrangement yourself. So yeah, that just showed trust, and that she kind of, you know, believed in me, and she saw that I was watching what she was doing for a long time, and that I was kind of paying attention, and then she just gave me that sort of trust that I was able to do it. So I think what inspires me the most, I mean, of course we already talked about it, nature. I mean, it's hard not to be inspired by just looking at a flower. But there's constantly new flowers out there. Like, for example, I've never worked with this one specific shade of ranunculus, but when I saw it, I had to have it. And more specifically, it matched the vase that I had so perfectly that I immediately knew that I was going to use it in this vase that I already had. You can get inspired by the container you're using, whether it's this cool vase that I found, or you can be inspired by other artists. I mean, you can look at, you can go to Maryland Hall and you can look at the art there and walk away inspired. It's hard not to be inspired by other artists.